the shop, so nothing will change that much if we're doing this week. But again, Friday's vacation time, so we're going to start off with our single leg, but I want you guys just to figure out just the pressure here first. So if I have Greg as my partner, what we're going to do is just partner up, just grab a leg, and I just want you to try and get the guy to sit down just using your hands. So that way you're just going to have a little bit more of a real understanding or idea of where you're putting pressure. So just hold on to the ankle, and then your inside hand just goes right to the hip, just like on the inside of the thigh here. And you're just going to try and step back and push the person down. This is like a legitimate variation of a single leg, or you could say it's an ankle pick or something. But from here, yeah, just pick up the guy's leg, hand right on the hip here, and I want you just to try and get the guy to sit down as best you can. Okay, so I wasn't expecting him to go down that quick. Okay, so just step back, pull up, and push down. So you have a slight rotation, but the key thing you're trying to do is get the leg that I'm picking up, I'm trying to get that butt cheek down to the mat. Okay, one more sec here. So again, here and here. So if I just push straight into his hip, he's not going to go anywhere. If I just rotate, he can hop, right? So I need to take away his ability to hop as I push. Bury him into the mat while maintaining that control. Okay, so just do that really quickly. Feel it out. You can try switching your hands and everything else, but really try and feel the pressure that you're putting and the location of the pressure and how much is required to make the guy sit. Okay, so fight a little bit, guys, on your feet, but you should just be feeling it out. Okay, start with that. This explained to me differently by different coaches. Just on the rotation of the leg. Okay, so right now you probably weren't focusing too much on this, but a lot of the single leg has to do with the angle of how you're turning the guy's leg here. Okay, to how it's rotating. So the sort of, if you really just to think about it, it would make the most sense when we're connected to the leg here to try and turn his knee towards the outside, so I'm getting a rotation this way. Now I'm wrapped up with his leg here, so I'm trying to rotate to this side. So you would think that that's going to turn his hip in and force him to sit. And that's been taught to me most of the time. But one wrestling coach gave me this tip is to actually do the opposite, because you become more powerful when you turn and actually face chest out towards the leg that you're grabbing onto. And even if you just do this from standing here, right? Like first when I was rotating toes out, and that feels like, yeah, my hip locks out, and that's where we're going to be sending the guy. But if you do it this way, you see how my butt ends up tucking to the side? It takes the weight off of this leg, and it makes it really awkward because this side of the hip locks then, and it makes it tougher to hop. Okay, so let's just go through our actual single game. And we're not doing entrance or anything like that right now. Okay, so when we pick up the leg, first of all, head on the inside and tight to the body. Okay, think again, I don't want to have my head down. I want to be listening in towards the gut here. I'm going to be choking up on this leg as much as humanly possible. And you can see I'm pinching my knee around the guy's ankle. A lot of his defense will be coming into his ability to kind of hook on the outside or inside or setting up trips and everything else. So do your best to dominate the lower section of the leg, but ultimately what I'm really trying to control is the upper section. So from here, we're going to pivot and bow. So I'm going to turn him away from his supporting leg. So I'm hopping this way, exactly. And at the same time, I'm putting shoulder pressure, neck pressure down, okay? But again, I can't do one or the other. They have to both happen. So as I'm bowing, I'm trying to pivot him towards the mat. So that's the simplest explanation of what's going on, or just think you're going down in a corkscrew, right? Here and here. Big thing though, you can't really squat. If you squat, you allow him to kind of stay in line. You have to stay tall so that all the weight goes over the hip. So your knees aren't going to bend all that much as part of the bow. It's just levering at the hips as you position, within reason, of course. So again, just going to pick up the leg, hug it at the knee, control it, then wrap nice and high here, pinching up. You can go for a rear naked choke grip. That way you have the hand on the thigh as well, or at the hip, or any other variation that you like. But I'll ultimately just think hug the leg. Okay? So again, I pivot and bow. That's the simplest option. Now though, how we're going to really make this a little bit better. you want to think that you're going to make the guy drop with the least amount of arm control as possible. So I want to be thinking about using my head and my neck to position them. So remember that detail I was talking about, rotating. So a lot of guys, when they try and make this happen, they start to torque like this, and then that takes them out of, you see I don't look strong when I do this either. So instead, almost turn your chest in towards him, and you're going to get a lot of pressure on the hip and forcing him to turn, okay? So again, pick up that leg, pinch, hug tight, and then again, head against the stomach. If I'm way out here, he's gonna start forcing my head down and pushing away and eventually break my position down. So stay tight to the stomach. Then again, pivot and bow, but try and do it in the least amount of spin possible. Nice and powerful here, okay? Now just a quick warning. Wrestling is different from jiu-jitsu, or wrestlers are different. If he takes me down, if I were a wrestler, right, take me down, they'd be trying to flatten out and turn their back, right, to avoid the pin. For us, everybody, if they get taken down, you go to your back, guard comes up. So the risk is the knees, because no one's gonna flatten out. When I get taken down, the knees are gonna come up. So with wrestling, you either have to stay completely compacted tight to them to avoid getting popped by a knee or landing on their knee, or as they fall, you have to kind of let them go and go to ankle control, okay, just to protect yourself. So again, just step in, control, pinching the knee, controlling the thigh, head in against the stomach, step back, go to the side of the mat, so either a quick separation or circle back. Or I have to stay so tight to him that I avoid that knee coming up. If you take the halfway point, which a lot of people do, then you're gonna get popped, okay? So go back, try those out a couple times, nice and slow, then we'll do our actual entrance, okay? This as part of the entrance, okay, but let me just go over the detail first. So what you want to, like, less and more, think about it this way, if I were to relate this to a right hand, okay? Yes, you could hit with a ton of power by doing this, right? But wouldn't you rather be able to land with that same power from here, right? So the same thing with the single leg. The less body like swing and energy expenditure that you have to do, the better, right? You want this to get that person down to the mat. So go back, try and get the guy to fall, your partner to fall, with the least amount of pivoting as possible. Okay, so again, this comes back to what we're talking about, that placement of the hand right on the inside here of the thigh, and then being able to force the hip down. Okay, so ideally, again, I would get him to drop without having to do this huge swinging wind up, okay, an aggressive angle to the shoulder. Now you should just be able to be here and then just get the guy to go down. It's just about the proper application of the pressure, and it just takes a little bit of experience. Okay, so again, heavy, just collapsing down here, and just a slight pivot to the angle just to help turn his hip away from where his base was set. Okay, so when you go back, do that. So, our entrance here. Now again, he can change things up a little bit. The big thing is that if I had my lapel grips here, I would most likely always be trying to attack the near side leg, right? Because it's right there. It's easy to pick up, okay? But I would never get that leg if I didn't break the grips off first. So just keep that in mind. Break the grip off and then step and scoop, okay? We're going for no-gi, and we might as well add something else. Let's do this off with an arm drag, okay? So your arm drag, simple, is your catch and grab. If you want to be a bit fancier, it's that wipe off and grab. Both are completely legitimate. One just looks a little bit fancier and takes a little bit more skill, okay? So from here, we're just in our stances. I just catch his wrist, same side, and I pass that through my armpit to my other hand, which is grabbing right at the tricep. Now I'm going to step with this, but naturally, this is my hinge point. I'm not stepping directly through. I'm more, think like, again, that old-timey Western way of walking, okay? So I'm pivoting. So my head will end up on the inside as I step. Okay, so again, hands are up. So catch and grab, or swipe, catch and grab, I pull him towards me, but I'm gonna basically think like headbutting him in the chest as I step. Now from here, I end up hooking his leg. I'm going to push back. Don't pull his leg to you because he's just gonna put weight on it and it's just energy, right? I'm already stepping forward, so I'm just going to continue to push him back, which takes the weight off of that leg, okay? And again, catch, grab, step, head is in, I scoop the leg, and I'm just gonna push him back to finish my scoop here. Knees pinch, and then now from this position, so turn. From this position, we end up here, right? Don't worry about this arm, this is actually not that great for him. Now, if I let him, like, I don't know, scoop my neck somehow awkwardly, but you can even see this isn't really viable for him. So I was here, right? Pass the wrist to your underside hand, and this is a very strong grip. If he wants to pull his hand away from here, it's very, very difficult, okay? And then that way I have 2 points of control. Nice and strong, and then again, just try and finish the guy from there, okay? So again, so in your stance, catch, grab, pull here, and I step in to meet him as I scoop for this knee. And then I just push him back to pick it up and grab. If he pulls the arm out, you're just in your standard single leg. But ideally, boom, when I go here, if I can pass this wrist to this hand, just keep a nice strong grip. And here I double it up. Drop the guy in on top. Okay? Really easy entrance, but again, try and finish that single leg with the least amount of movement as possible. Okay, efficiency. This one. Stuff, okay? So maybe I did my arm drag, but I went straight through and I picked up the leg from here. Or I did it properly, I got the leg, but he forced my head to the outside. Okay, so this is bad for me. Now the first thing that I want to do is react quickly to this. Okay, because you have just him and pushing the head out to the outside here, it's going to be nice for my momentum on the technique. So you just saw what I did there. So in this position here, it's the same direction that I'm pushing, but I'm going to have my head pop free, right? Or if it does get pushed out, the inside hand, the one that's in between his legs, is going to go and catch the back of his knee. And you want to think that your arm is like a crowbar. So instead of your neck and your left side shoulder in that case doing the pressure, it's going to be your right side shoulder. But you lever his knee at the same time, right? So you step back and you just kind of shut your shoulder down as you push on the back of his knee. We do this again. Stick with the arm drag, guys. So boom, boom, I go here, picks his leg up, oh, forces my head out to the outside. So this is dangerous, first of all, guillotines and that, everything else, guillotine, right? So I have to move fast, okay? So from here, hand to the back of the knee, good, and then now from here I just turn away from him and I just push with my shoulder. Now if he does happen to have your neck, this position, when you push through here, you're just gonna kind of bob your head back. It's really awkward for guys to stay on your neck there, okay? But again, if I give them, if they feel like they've cinched it, they'll probably just jump on your neck anyways, right? They'll probably sit down into their guard and continue to attack. So you want to react quickly. Again, arm drag, come in, here. Just kind of pop my head free at the same time. Let's do the other angle. A little slower, boom, boom. Pushes my head out, so my hand comes here and I just, you'll kind of feel it. Partners like hold on to the neck a little bit once in a while, so you can see. You push him this way and his arm should actually undo as you go, especially if you pull your head back a little bit. Okay, so just as an option if you do end up on the wrong side. Okay, let's go.
Yes.
So instead of going through like the original idea was to go over a head snap into a double from here, turning the corner, everything else. But let's play this off with a single leg. I can always switch from, it's easy to switch from a double to a single, but you can still do it the other way around, especially with this one, because this particular angle that we have when we step in, I'm looking across the hips. Normally when you attack a single leg, you're going to be a little bit more directly in front, and then through the fight, depending on how quickly you get them down, your angles will change. But this one, I'm taking this step here, you can kind of see I'm looking off the side of his hip here, okay? Step over this way. Okay, so arm drag, boom, I go for my single leg here. And this is a great position for a high crotch as well, but that's tough to draw, okay? So from here in this position, all I'm going to do is just run him over. So I decide I'm going for a tackle. My front side hand is just gonna reach for his knee. Think about going for the Achilles. So we've done this quite a few times recently. Like grab his tendon, or even just think like you're holding onto his kneecap, and you want to turn his knee to face me. Okay, and this has nothing to do with danger at all. Okay, you'll be fine in this position. But all I'm going to do is just drive. I'm going to run him over and bury my shoulder. So I just start to go this way until I end up just going straight up on top. Really easy switch to a double. It's a lateral double. Okay. So boom, boom, I step in, I'm going for my single leg, but maybe I feel he has good balance. So instead I just charge and I just pick the knee as I come. Just run the guy down, okay? Partners give a little bit of resistance though. If you just kind of collapse, it's gonna feel awkward for both of you, okay? We make the run happen. Okay, so again, boom, pick it up, and then again, instead of trying to fight him back this way, I just drive. Okay, just keep the pressure. Pull that knee in with every step you take. Okay? Let's go. Really easy transition.
Yes.
Like, you'll figure these things out as you get like a throw here, like we did the Yosoto Gary, as you get into Chimata, as you get, you know, your foot sweeps and everything else, you'll start to just notice times when you can start combining things, right? So with this one here, like, it depends on, if he's just bouncing completely laterally, you should ultimately tackle at some point, right? But the way that he's going to stop that is by trying to pivot back or forwards in some angle. That's just going to change things up a little bit. So I was here, right? I start to drive through, but if he starts turning his angle, like if you start to go with your feet a little bit more, or feet here, like this. So just think about your angles, like what's available. So if I'm in this position, or if he really starts heading towards my back here to get away from that inside hand, and I can start to scoop here and here, like just change things up, right? The big thing is just the flow, but if you do have something in deep, commit to it, right? You went through all that work, you have a strong position, don't let it go for too little of resistance. Okay, commit to it, but if things do start loosening up and you see an opportunity, go for your trip, go for your foot sweep, pick the ankle, or whatever becomes available, okay?